What the hell is up, YouTube? This is 13 Dragon Blade coming at you with my Dragoonity deck profile. It's a very strange Dragoonity deck, but I think that it will be something very good in the meta, at least for right now. I have some recovery cards in it, so before you say anything, oh, well, Pot of Avarice is banned, the deck is going to be shit, I beg to differ. And in this variant of the deck, you don't really need to worry about it. Kind of like what I tweaked my fairies to not having to worry about Call of the Haunted and worrying more about protection. I think this entire format is going to be based off protection for your monsters and ways of getting monsters back. There are some things in my extra deck, of course, that I can use to get my monsters back as well, so if I need to recycle those Zombieunitys, I still have my way of doing that. Anyway, we're going to get right into the deck profile. First, because it's important, 1, 2, 3 ducks. You need 3 of them, always, if you're going to play Dragoonities. I've emphasized this before in a deck profile I did for my, with a friend of mine years ago. But yeah, you need to run 3 ducks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You just need to run him. He's pretty easy to get, but Special Deck came a while ago, so your best bet is eBay. Same with these Dragoonity Phalanx. They used to be really, really high in price. I got them when they were cheap, and these are the 2 dual terminal ones. This is the one from Hidden Arsenal I got a while back. Basically, Dux is normal summoned, and he equips this guy, and then this guy specials himself from the equip zone, so you can synchro into a 6. Then Vajrayana comes out and re-equips him. His effect is reinstated, and you can unequip again and synchro for 8, so you make a double synchro into a turn, but it's a nice engine to have for the deck. Then the 2, kind of least important, but they're still there. The 2 Legionnaires to help popping face-up monsters, to help you go into your 5 stars if you get Phalanx. And he's comboed well with Achilles. Achilles, if you use your Legionnaires effect to pop a monster, you can use his effect to pop a card. So you're basically Icarus attacking your opponent and not minusing yourself at all. And the other engine, there's no more Dragoonities, that was it. Garuda the Wind Spirit, my friend told me that I should start running it, and I can understand why. I mean, it helps you with your rank 4 exceed monsters, it's very important. You need to start filling up your engine for Dark Simorg and all that stuff. So, you have him to rely on if you get Veilured on your ducks, or whatever the case may be. So if your ducks get Veilured, you can banish a Phalanx, and you can just summon that guy. Okay, so now moving on to the Dark variant. That was all the Wind variant of the deck, and this deck does play Dark Simorg, so very interesting cards. One Zephyros, because if you're not running Zephyros in a Dragoonity deck, you're not really that smart, because Zephyros is very important. He bounces Ravine, he does all sorts of combos. He is a winged beast, so you can use him with in conjunction with Phalanx if they somehow stop ducks. So that's the last winged beast. Now we move on to the zombie variant, because this deck does run a zombie engine. You have 2 zombie masters. They're very good. You just special summon a zombie. If they have zombie world, then you get a plus either way. And I know that zombies are going to be coming back this format, so I figured I just might as well use some of the undead myself. Those are the 2. Might I suggest that this deck has plenty of floaters thanks to the field spell. There's also these floaters that have your 2 goblin zombies. I was going to go 3, but then my friend told me that that would be too much, so I decided I'm going to use him and 1 pyramid turtle. So it's a nice little tech. They're floaters that can easily get you zombies, and you don't minus at all. You always plus a card, helps thin out the deck, which is what you need for this deck format. And you need to add cards to hand as soon as possible, so it's good to have a lot of floaters that go with the deck. Then 2 Plague Spreaders, because he's at 2, and because it's beautiful to pitch this guy with Ravine. He uses his effect, he comes back, and just all sorts of shenanigans start happening, and it's just nice. You have an extra tuner if you need to synchro into a 6, or you need the extra play to go into a 6-star. You now have it, so it's always nice to have that. And then for the last zombie, Win Mizuki. I was going to run 2, but again, Mizuki is good by himself. He just says special zombie, which is nice. and you can special it from the graveyard by banishing himself. And then the boss monster, the 2 Dark Samorgs, because Samorg is amazing, and once you get him off, he is pretty damn dope. He doesn't let your opponent set cards, which, of course, is very nice. If you ran a Veiler, that's another way to go into an 8-star, but unfortunately, I don't run Veiler. I might choose to run it as it's in my side deck, but it's not in main deck for the moment. Then spells. We have Goldo's Quillpin. You bounce a face-up card, and you return 2 wind monsters from your graveyard to your deck. So essentially, it's a mini Pot of Avarice that you can use. Same with this card. I'm sure you saw it in my Digideck profile. This is going to have some usage. I have a feeling if people want to get recovery cards, Pot of Benevolence, and Transmigration Prophecy, that is going to be some of the amazing cards of this format. But basically what this card does is it targets 2 cards in either graveyard. It returns them to the deck, and then this card's banished. So that's nice, but it says 2 cards, so you can get any 2 cards you want, which is pretty boss. Then 3 of the field spell, Dragon Ravine. You discard a card, and you either Rhoda, a Dragoonity monster, level 4 or lower, or you dump a dragon, which, again, that helps sets up the engine and all that other good stuff. And to make sure we get that field spell, 3 Terraforming, because Terraforming is amazing. It's never a minus, and even if it is, you can pitch it off with Ravine. Then we go into the other cards. We have a Dark Hole, so get rid of monsters, and we have a Foolish Burial to dump the Zephyros, because you're going to need to dump the Zephyros immediately, or if you need to get Phalanx off, then you can dump the Phalanx, so on and so forth, or even the Plague Spreader. 2 MSTs for back row removal. I was going to run 3, but I didn't have space for it because I needed to add some more floaters, and the deck needs to have a nice flow to it. So having 2 MSTs is just fine. And then the draw power, we have an Allure, and we have 2 cards of Consonance, because the floaters are searchable through Ravine, so this card isn't really dead, and even if it is, you use Ravine to pitch it. But I usually use Ravine, use this card, and then I get 2 cards off of it and dump the Phalanx that I needed. And then I can just go exploding, and I'll get the Allure, and I Allure into something, and I banish whatever. Okay, and then for traps, because I don't run any, I'm only going to run Royal Decree. If I can't run traps, you can't either. So that's my motto. First time I'm testing out Decree with this deck, and it's been working pretty well. Alright, so that was the main board. Now we go into the extra deck. For rank 4s, we have the very broken Daigusto Emerald. I love this guy. He's really easy to make, and he's the reason why I say you don't need a Pot of Avarice, because he does it for you. He targets, you detach from him, he targets 3 monsters in grave, and you shuffle all 3 of them back into your deck and draw 1 card. And for his other effect is also pretty good for the Blue Eyes users. For that new Blue Eyes deck, you target 1 non-effect monster and special summon it. So doesn't matter what level it is, so that's very nice. Daigusto Emerald is probably one of the most bossest ranks I have. And then I have my Ichidori. This card's expensive. When he's XYZ summoned, you target 1 set card your opponent controls and put it to the bottom of the deck, and then you can detach 1 to target a face-up card and bounce it to the top of the deck, which is really stupid. It's nice within itself. It's a little weak, but I can understand why, because it bounces. So you use Garuda and the Ducks that was Veilered for this, because I know everybody and their mother will Veiler Ducks, because they don't want you getting an 8-star. So if you have Garuda in hand, you banish the Phalanx if you're feeling, ballsy, and you make this guy, and you trample all over them. So yeah, Ichidori and Daigusto Emerald. Then these are pretty generic rank 4s, but I'm going to go into the other one that's really necessary with the deck to help it flow, is Ice Beast Seraphim. This card is really busted because it does not target. Let me read this guy. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls, and if you do, this card gains 300 attack for each face-up card currently on the field except this card. These effects are applied until your next standby phase. So yeah, he starts out as 2,000. So say your opponent has 4 cards. That's 23, 26, 29, 32. he becomes an over 3k beater just by having 4 cards that are face up. And even if they're face down, whatever, it says every card on the field, which is pretty boss. And all you need to do to make him is 2-winged beasts, so go for it. You can use him with Garuda and make this guy. It's very nice. One's just one Roach, because he's pretty good. And there's a lot of decks that summon heavy monsters, so yeah, you want to be able to stop that. 1 Utopia and 1 Gemini Pearl. That basically rounds it out. Gemini Pearl just because, and Utopia, of course, because he's a beat stick, and because I think every deck runs him at this point. So yeah, those are the ones that everybody's running. Now we go to Synchros, which are very, very important. Catastor for 5-star, and TG Hyper Librarian. There's a combo that you can do, which basically Librarian nets you 2 cards, but that's only if you run Fabled Servable. So if you want to do that, be my guest, but for this build, you need a lot more dark monsters, and the Zombie Engine is the way to go if you want to have some simplicity, some floaters, all that stuff. Gay Durg, Dragoon Knight Gay Durg, this is how you dump Zephyros if Arena's not there for you. You grab the Zephyros and then you dump it with his effect. And he's basically your Ravine, you could say. 1, 2, 3 Vajrayanas, because this card is necessary at 3. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is how you go into your 8 stars. He equips, and you special the Phalanx, and you synchro for 8. It's always nice. And for the 8 stars, you're running 1 Stardust. I don't feel the need to run more than 1, and 1 Colossal Fighter, and 1 Scrap Dragon. Those are really the ones that you need to be running. I mean, Scrap Dragon's obvious. You could replace the Colossal Fighter with another Stardust, I guess, but I'd prefer Colossal Fighter because he's another big beat stick that you have in your extra deck, just waiting for trample all over your opponent. Usually if you have Samorg, Scrap Dragon, and Daigusto Emerald, you're going to go for game. Anyways, let's spin my Dragoon deck. Daigusto Emerald is the card of the night. It's 13 Dragon Blade, signing off.